Hey guys, Stanley King here in Las Vegas, Nevada with Remax Unlimited. I'm a broker salesman. I've been selling real estate for just about 20 years. So far, 1,400 homes sold, plus or minus. And today I'd like to talk to you about the different types of sellers, the different types of people who list homes. Now, this is important if you're thinking about listing your home. Also, if you're a buyer, listen to this because it'll kind of tell you what you need to do to purchase a home. So I've found after dealing with so many people, working with so many people, that there are really three types of sellers. The first one is what I call the traditional seller. They're probably about 80% of sellers. Quite a few people. These are folks who maybe they got a job transfer and they have to go somewhere. Maybe they want to buy a different home, so they have to sell this home to buy the next home. But I call them traditional because what they'll do is they're going to sell their house for sure, and they're going to sell their house for market price. It's important to understand what market price is. That's what buyers are willing to pay and sellers are willing to sell their home for. Sometimes it's not a perfect science, it's more of an art. But what happens with a traditional seller is a real estate agent will come in and say, based on the last three sales in your neighborhood and the listings that are currently out there, your house is worth, for example, $600,000. And they will speak with their real estate agent and say, okay, well, let's list our house for $600,000. And usually what happens is that house will either sell right away because the agent got it right on the money with the market price, or it won't. And then that seller will say, well, let's lower the price $25,000. And then if it doesn't sell at that price, after a couple of weeks, they'll say, let's lower the price another 25,000, sometimes 50,000. That traditional seller will sell because they're always going to lower to their price to the point where a buyer is willing to pay that price. That's a traditional seller. Now, on the top of the spectrum is somebody, this is the next type of seller. I call these guys the prestige sellers, the people who just don't care. They're going to get their price no matter what. So that type of seller, let's say they have a beautiful view, or they're on a beautiful lake, or they have a home that's been so upgraded that it's just incredible. It looks like it belongs in a magazine. That type of a seller, they'll say, my price is, let's say, $1 million, or $2 million, or $10 million. They will work with their agent and they'll work on incredible marketing pieces, incredible video walkthroughs. They'll make the house show beautifully online, and same with when somebody comes through. And they'll say, I'm not going to sell for below, let's say they list at 2 million. They'll say, I'm not selling for less than $2 million, and I don't care. This type of seller, they really don't need to sell their home. They don't have to sell their home. They know they've got something very special. It's like a diamond ring, or like a really nice classic car. There's no negotiation on the price. They want what they want, and the only way you're going to get that beautiful piece of property is to pay their price. You need to think about this. Prestige, beautiful, whatever it is, strip center, New York, penthouse loft, they're asking 10 million or 1 million or whatever it is. Their price is their price. Now, this kind of seller, if you go in and you offer on $1 million list price 900, you're just going to make them angry and they're probably going to reject your offer. You have to feel out what type of seller you're dealing with as a buyer. And the same, you as a seller need to clearly understand who you are. Are you a traditional seller where you're willing to take less? Or are you, I call it a prestige seller where you set your price and that's it? Think about that. And you need to communicate that with your realtor. That's why I've done pretty well in this business. I'm able to figure out what type of a person I'm dealing with. Sometimes people trick me. They'll tell me they're a prestige seller, and then I'll find out they're willing to stair step down they'll say, oh, we have to sell. By the way, we didn't tell you we have a financial thing coming up. That gets a little tricky. But when we talk and somebody says, I want $3 million, that's it. Then $3 million it is. And when the buyers come in and they say, hey, will the guy take 2,500,000? I say, absolutely not. And they get a little upset because everybody likes to get a little bit better of a deal. But you have to remember this. Those people, they have something special. And again, traditional sellers, they need to move somewhere else. You can get those guys to move a little bit on their price. Usually somewhere like here in Las Vegas, maybe 5% below what they're asking. Sometimes 10. You have to feel the situation out. 10 is very, very rare. Now, the third type of seller is what I call a distressed seller. These people they've got to go now. They have a big issue. They have a medical bill. They have a legal thing. They got divorced. They're going bankrupt. Their life is basically in a very bad place. Sometimes those distressed sellers are even banks who've already taken properties back. Now, if you want to make good money in real estate, look for a distressed sale. If you can find one of those and buy one of those and fix it up, you can make a lot of money very quickly because you can bring that property up to market value, what a traditional seller would take. Sometimes you can find prestige properties for 70 cents on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar. Nobody else can afford them. Say it's a $3 million property. Sometimes you can pick those up for $1 million just because the bank needs to clear them out or the court needs to clear them out. Those are very rare. They show up once in a blue moon, and you better have a great relationship with your agent because when that property pops up, you have to have your agent call you immediately, and you have to have your cash ready to close on those immediately. Now, a distressed seller is usually going to want cash, and they need to close now. And when I say now, sometimes it's 3 days, sometimes it's 5 days, sometimes it's a month. It's not going to usually be more than a month, but you have to be able to perform. Usually a distressed seller will not take a loan from the bank. Sometimes they will, but it's very rare. But again, distressed seller, if you're somebody who needs to sell now, that type of listing, you need to tell your agent, I need to sell now, because they do have resources to get your property sold right away. Okay, if you have any questions about this, please give me a call. Again, Stanley King, I'm a broker salesman, 20 years experience here in Las Vegas. I'm with RE/MAX Unlimited. My telephone number is 702-408-6220. I do this job because I absolutely love it. And again, after 20 years, I figured out 3 types of sellers. Prestige won't budge on their price. Traditional will sell their house for market price. It may not be what they want. It might not be what you want, but you're going to negotiate a deal, usually. And then distressed sellers. And that's pretty much it. You need to know what type of seller you are. Communicate that with your realtor. If I can be your realtor, I'd love to help you. And again, if you're a buyer and you're watching this video, think about what type of seller you're dealing with so that you approach your transaction correctly and you use the right type of offer and you help your realtor with the negotiation so that you secure that home that you want. All right, guys. Again, Stanley King, broker salesman, RE/MAX Unlimited here in Las Vegas. I hope your transaction goes great, and I'm always here for you. I'd love to help you. And if you ever need a referral anywhere in the United States or the world, I'm happy to provide a referral to you for a spectacular agent. I will vet them. I will research them. I will make sure it is a quality agent. Real estate is one of the biggest transactions you'll ever do in your life. You need somebody who's excellent. Don't just take anybody. This is too big of a financial transaction to take on where that you lose money because you have somebody who's incompetent. You need an expert. All right, guys, take it easy. Thanks for listening.